I have a problem in that every single pair of jeans I've decided to get rid of in the past 4 years is in this bag. Now, the reason for that is that for the past 4 years, every single pair of jeans that I've decided to get rid of, I also have had a plan for how I was going to turn them into a brand new, awesome, cool new pair of jeans. But with work, life, school, things just got away from me, and now I'm sitting here with this massive duffel bag full of old denim that I no longer have a place to store. So that brings us to today's video, where we're going to start going through this bag of jeans and start making new jeans. So to get started, we actually need to make our pattern. With these pants, I've been really inspired by Japanese denim, and more so just I like that sort of really dark wash and not like well-fitting, like it's not like tight, but like well-fitting slouchy silhouette, if that makes sense. And also, I've always really liked embellishments and embroidery and patches on the back of a pair of jeans. And so when I saw this jacket at the flea market, I was like, this is gonna be perfect. Only because I feel like it's a cool motif, and I feel like it's just something that will add something to a pair of pants while not being like that, while still letting them be wearable. That's what I'm trying to say. And I've been seeing for years now on Pinterest a lot of these really cool embroidered jeans that have elements of pop culture. My favorite that I've seen are these pants that are embroidered with scenes from Attack on Titan, but the way it's done, you would never be like, oh, that's Attack on Titan, until you look closer. And so I started with patterning the pants, and all you have to do to make them barrel is just give a little bit of an outseam and inseam curve, or at least that's all I did with these. And then since it's upcycled, normally you need more denim. Counterintuitively, you need at least 2 pairs of jeans to make 1 pair of brand new jeans. And so what I did, and what I normally do to get around this, is I made 4 panels for each leg instead of the regular 2. And so all I did was I marked the middle point of the waist and of the ankle and drew a line connecting them. And this I freehanded because it couldn't be straight because the jeans weren't straight. And so I sort of just tried to follow the curve, and then I smoothed it out with a curved ruler. And I would say it's funny because when we talk about pattern making, I think people think that it has to be really precise, but the more that I've done it, the more it seems that you just draw the shape that you want, and it almost always works out. So I finished cutting out all the pattern pieces, and first of all, I just want to say that when I was doing this, I realized I'd forgotten how cool this dyed fabric had turned out. It's like the way that I dyed it, it was over dyed in certain places, and there's like some places that are patchier, so it has like a really nice wear pattern already, and the color is like such a cool like dark deep indigo. I'm really excited for how these are going to turn out. But anyway, some updates after I finished cutting this out. So first of all, I'm going to have to like patchwork some things together. This one I noticed was a little too short, unfortunately, so I'm gonna have to take some of this scrap fabric and make it a little bit longer, which I'll do tomorrow. And then I also noticed that I didn't have any pieces wide enough left over to cut out my back yoke, so my plan is that I have these 2 strips that were too short to do anything else with, and I'll sew them together to make a wider thing and use that to cut out the back yoke. But I think I'm ready to stop for the night, so that is a problem for tomorrow. So I went ahead and sewed together the pieces of fabric so I could have a piece big enough to cut out the yoke and the bottom part of the front side seam. And so now I'm going to start putting it together. I think what my game plan is going to be is I'm going to start by like putting together the front pieces and the back pieces, so I have 4 pieces for a complete leg. And then I think I'm going to then do the zipper fly and then do the out seams, which normally I do the inseams first, but this time, since I'm going to be putting the embroidery and it's going to go over the out seam, I want it to be able to lie flat when I applique the embroidery on. It's kind of late right now, so I don't know how far I'll get, but my goal is to at least get the big pieces sewed together. I don't know if I have it in me to do a zipper fly right now, but I guess we'll see. So I cut out and sewed together my pocket pieces. I never actually end up patterning these. I just sort of eyeball it and like that's what a pocket looks like. And the biggest thing is I just make sure that my hand can fit inside. Also for these, I decided instead of doing like the curved jean pocket, I was going to do it straight, almost like a trouser pocket. I don't know, I thought that it would look cleaner, and since these are such like a dark wash of denim, that it might be nice. And so now I got to attach them. And I always get so confused when I do this because you need to do it right sides together. But it looks like this. And so normally what I just do is I try and think of like how the seam is going to be. So I sort of fold it in like this and then flip it. And then I'm going to pin it and sew. So I finished with the pockets, and now that I've done that, I am going to baste this together to check the fit. Since this is a pattern that I made myself and I made like a year ago, I just want to double check how everything's looking and make sure there's not any alterations that I have to make before I like sew it together and it's a little bit more irreversible. And this is something that I feel like I don't see a lot of people talk about. But I do think that basting things together and checking fit before it's done is one of the most important things to making your clothes look like they're professional, because it really gives you a chance to fix any mistakes before it gets too hard or you're too far in. So yeah, I'm going to do that and I'll check in with you and we'll see how it's looking. So here's how they're looking after I basted them together. I'm really happy with how they've turned out so far. I did have to make one fit adjustment where I basically just took a little bit of fabric in from these like middle center seams. But other than that, I think that they're exactly how I wanted them to look. So now I'm going to mark with chalk where I think the back pockets and the applique should go, just so I know for later. And then I am going to unpick them and start sewing them together for real. Once I was happy with the fit, I first sewed the button fly together, and then I did all the out seams because I knew normally I would do the inseam first so I could do a flat filled seam on the inseam so it's nice against like the more sensitive areas when it's rubbing against your skin. But this time, because I knew the embroidery was going to pass over the out seam, I knew I needed to have that together before I put the embroidery on. And since I was going to put the patch on with my sewing machine, I was not hand sewing that. I needed it to lay flat, so I had to do the side seams first. I did both side seams at the same time, but if I was going to do it again, I would just do the side that I needed to put the patch on because it did get a little bit unwieldy with my sewing machine. And so for the patch, since it went over the pocket, I sewed the patch onto the pocket first and like stopped sewing once we got to where I would need to stitch to put the pocket down so I could flip it up and sew underneath it. And I did that with a really small, like very thin zigzag stitch, just so I could catch everything I needed to, like in case I went a little bit off the patch, I would still catch it. Then I sewed the pocket on normally, and then I sewed on the rest of the patch. And I did put a little bit of glue on, like a glue stick, because I was worried about it shifting around, but I don't actually think that was necessary. I think I could have done it with just pins, and it did gunk up my needle a little bit, which is fine. And then when I did the inseam, since I couldn't do a flat felled inseam like I normally would, I ended up wrapping it in bias tape. If you have a nicer sewing machine than I do, because mine was like $100 when it was bought in like 2012, and it's never been serviced since. So like, we need to be a little careful with her. And so like, it can't really handle the thicker thread that you normally use for denim. So I was using the thinner thread. I did bias tape over the whole seam because I didn't trust just one seam line. But if you have a better sewing machine, you could definitely do like a Hong Kong binding, which would probably be nicer because there'd be a little bit less bulk. But I just didn't want to serge it and have the serged edge against my skin because I find it really irritating. Not in the outseam, but in the inseam, I don't think it's comfortable. So I wanted to cover it up somehow. And then I finished off the rest of the pants, and the waistband was pretty difficult with my sewing machine because again, it's just not the machine to be making jeans on. And so I ended up, instead of doing it the normal way, since I had to put the waistband together from a few different sections of denim because I didn't have a long enough strip to do it. It was just too bulky to do it how I normally would, which is when I'm stitching in the ditch, folding it under. And so instead I put bias tape alongside the inner edge of the waistband, and so it could just lay flat, which I actually think I might do this finish more often. I think it ended up being really comfortable because there was so little bulk around the waistband area, and it was much easier. At least I'm not great at sewing on waistbands, and so it was much easier to have more leeway with it and still have it look neat on the inside.